voted against my own community, although I did not know it at the time. I voted against everything that I now stand for. For that, I want to take a moment to say that I'm sorry. I truly am, and I fell off that train very quickly after. No one knows your brain and your heart better than you. No one knows your soul better than you. No one knows you better than you. With that said, it boggles my mind that this administration and the cult that supports it are so hell-bent in erasing anything and anyone that they lack the intelligence to understand. Humans are diverse creatures. If we were to listen to the same genre of music, if we all dressed the same, we liked and disliked the same things, life would be boring. I know and love several transgender people. You want to know something? They're people. They're people just like you and me, people with families, friends, jobs, dreams, fears, likes, and dislikes. People that deserve the same rights as cisgendered people. Until you know what they go through on a daily basis, hear their stories, and feel their pain, you simply won't understand. And we're not meant to have a full grasp on how the human mind, body, and spirit works. How someone identifies or presents themselves shouldn't be up for debate. This isn't politics. These are human rights that are in danger. Transgender men and women are already at a significant risk of dying by suicide, more than 4 times likely, in fact. The Trevor Project, the leading organization in crisis and suicide prevention in the LGBTQIA+ youth, reported on September 26, 2024, that between 2018 and 2022, the risk of suicide in non-binary and transgender youth increased as much as 72%. This percentage was collected among a sample of 61,000 queer youth throughout the span of only 5 years. 48 anti-transgender laws were enacted across 19 different state governments during this time. This administration is targeting and killing queer youth, kids that deserve to live a full and happy life authentically. Someone I love and cherish spoke with me after the election was final and said, "Alyssa, I won't make it past 50 if I can't transition." That was enough for me. That was enough for me to hear, to spark a fire in my spirit to stand up and fight, even when I'm standing alone. And wow, do I feel alone these days. I'm told that I'm overreacting. When I feel like the rest of the country is underreacting to the dark fascist regime that has invaded our government. Our government is here to protect our freedoms, not take them away. Humans are meant to evolve, to change, to be thoughtful, and question what feels wrong. Things feel wrong right now, don't they? It feels wrong that minority groups are under attack just for existing or being different from what's considered normal. It feels wrong that our children's right to education is being dismantled. Our son is currently enrolled in birth to 3 through Greene County for speech therapy. We suspect him to have verbal apraxia, a disorder that presents the disconnect between the brain and the muscles of the mouth. He will need years of intense speech therapy and an individualized education program, or an IEP, when he enters school to ensure that he has access to the resources that he needs to be successful in school, even with a speech disorder. Birth to 3 is supported through the Department of Education under Title I, Part C. The dismantling of this department is already underway, and I fear daily that my son's right to individualized education will be revoked due to this administration's total disregard for proper procedure and law. I have little faith that this federally supported program will survive without major changes that will affect each and every family involved. It feels wrong that school shootings only get thoughts and prayers, but a Tesla, of all things, being vandalized is considered an act of terrorism. It feels wrong that a billionaire oligarch handed out $1 million checks to people to ensure they voted how he wanted them to, which is illegal, by the way. It feels wrong that human rights as a whole are being politicized. It feels wrong that there's no accountability. It feels wrong because it is wrong. I won't ramble on, although I definitely could. So I'll close out with this. I urge you to make a difference in any way that you can. There is no action that's too small right now. I encourage you to educate, show empathy, and stand strong against the injustices happening in our country. A country that is a melting pot of diversity and has so much good to offer. If only we were under the care of an administration that cared for the American people and not the money lining their pockets and bank accounts. Call out the injustices that you see. Make the fascists uncomfortable and point out their hypocrisy. Be loud, be fierce, but also be kind. Because this world is cruel enough. And even in the darkest of times, I want you to remember this. Love always wins. Thank you.
Thank you, Alyssa, for sharing. We appreciate your contributions. Hands off Department of Education. Yes. Hands off. Next, I would like to introduce Lou Dalton. She was a social worker for over 35 years. She worked the bulk of her career here in Greene County, administering Medicaid programs to the elderly, the disabled, and persons with severe persistent mental illness. She worked at Greene County Human Services for 20 years, as well as Monroe Clinic, Monroe Manor Nursing Home, Oakwood College, Oakwood Village in Madison, TMG, and a Grace, where she currently works as a hospice social worker. Lou and her husband Tom have made Monroe their home for the past 45 years and raised their 2 sons as well as dogs. So we're honored to hear from you, Lou. Please come on up.
Hello, Monroe. How are you today? You know, I know this has been said quite a few times, but isn't it great to be here today with the wins of Susan Crawford and Jill Underling behind us. We contributed to hope, not just for each other, but for the entire country and the entire world. And of course, I will never in my whole life forget Cory Booker and his words of, we cannot lead the people unless we love them. Do you think our administration can do that? That happened, that election was only 4 days ago, but it seems like a lot longer, doesn't it? Now that we have had the opportunity to experience Liberation Day, do you find yourself reeling from a welter of emotions? From anger, 1 minute, fear, the next, deep sadness, and above all, exhaustion. You are not alone. The plunge of the stock market has all of us terrified for our economic futures. But imagine the terror of poor people who have difficulty surviving right now. I am making a pledge to be there for them too, and you might want to consider that as well. Are you suddenly cut off from friends and family that you've known and loved for decades? Does that happen to you? Are you estranged from your mother, father, sister, brother, spouse? That would be a hard one. All because of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, J.D. Vance, etc., and the events of the last 2.5 months. Again, you are not alone. but it's a hard place to be. Many years ago, my beloved psych professor, Bill Clark, taught me that crisis can be a descent into chaos, or it can become an opportunity, a turning point. We are at that juncture right now, an opportunity to define who we are as Americans. So who are we? Where is this land of the free, the home of the brave? Because I have to say right now, I don't feel too free. Do we worship the modern day version of the golden calf, the avatar of Donald Trump? Or do we remember and insist that no one is above the law? Of course, you might think about, as I am, the July Supreme Court ruling that the president cannot be held responsible for any criminal acts committed in an official capacity while in office. But I want you to think about this. If this can be written into law, it can be written out of law. And let's demand it. We will remember and hold accountable Trump's removal of government departments, the Department of Education, USAID, which is illegal on its face. They were created by Congress, and they can only be dissolved by Congress. Do we decide that it is okay to disregard the rule of law and due process if it suits our purpose? No. Any person is entitled to due process, regardless of their citizenship or immigration status, under the 5th and 14th Amendments of the United States Constitution. Do we ignore the Constitution? No. Can someone in government just decide that a person is a criminal or a terrorist? No. Without evidence, without going through the court system, because that is happening right now. People are being snatched off the street. We're seeing that. That's not who we are. If we decide it is okay to deny due process, guess what? We, you and I, can also be denied due process. It is a short leap to go from undocumented persons, persons with a green card, persons with a work or tourist visa, or the wrong tattoo, to a citizen of the United States who dares to defy Trump, who dares to protest, like we're doing right now. And if you are a person of color, transgender, or gay, watch out. You are even at more risk. Today, if you are a transgender person, your passport is likely invalid, as it must match the sex assigned at birth. This unnecessary and egregious policy is a profound denial of a person's identity and prohibits people to travel for work, for school, for education, for joy. It is no wonder that the countries of Canada, Germany, the UK, Denmark, Finland, and the Netherlands all have heightened advisory warnings about traveling to the USA. Overstay your visa by 3 days, you are arrested by ICE, thrown into a detention center in chains. No blankets, no due process, no information. You will be kept in subhuman conditions. Overstaying a visa is a civil offense, not a criminal one. When I read these accounts, I cannot believe this occurred in the United States, the shining city on a hill. Surely it must be China, Russia, or North Korea. No wonder the voice of America that had broadcast words of freedom and truth has been silenced. Today, the voice of America has nothing to say. Who are we? We are Americans who do not pay allegiance to anyone trying to be king. We're not afraid to stand up and fight billionaires because they do not own our country. We do. We are the people of the United States of America. We are brave, smart, and compassionate. Let's remind the rest of America and the rest of the world who we truly are. Please join me in singing, Do You Hear the People Sing? Do you hear the people sing, singing the song of angry men? It's sick of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes. Will you join in our crusade? You will be strong and stand with me. Beyond the barricade, is there a world you long to see? Then join the right to be free. Do you hear the people sing, singing the song of angry men? It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. When the beating of your heart echoes the beating of the drums, there is a life about to start when tomorrow comes. Thank you, Monroe. I love you.
Thank you, Lou. We have the distinct pleasure of hearing from Scott Rippey. He's a social influencer. Some of you may know him or follow him. He writes the Rippeyology weather blog on Facebook. Find him if you don't already have him. While that blog is focused heavily on weather forecasts for southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois, you'll find plenty of progressive politics there as well. He is a lifelong marketer, 3-time Best of Madison winner as Best Local Influencer, and has guided numerous political campaigns. So without further ado,
Whoop. Oh yeah, I'm gonna break things right off the bat if that's okay. Good afternoon to a lot of really good people. How has everybody's Liberation Week been? I was just gonna say that. So I decided to just cross out the E and the R. It's just Libation Week for me because we're gonna need to have a few beverages in order to get through this storm, right? In my pre-Rippeyology life, I worked for about 7 years in Madison, Milwaukee radio, and then I made the reckless and irresponsible decision to open up a marketing firm, which somehow managed to last for 3 decades. And during that time, I was able to work on a few political campaigns, but this is the first time that I've had an opportunity. You guys turn out, by the way. This is great. Wow. This is the first time I've had an opportunity to stand up in front of a group of like-minded people and talk some crap. So I'll try not to suck at that. Nearly 11 years ago, on Monday, June 9th, 2014. Yeah, I should be wearing that. No. That's yours. On June 9th, 2014, after the Supreme Court reaffirmed or affirmed the right to gay marriage, I was living in New Glarus with my partner of 18 years at the time, and I called this very courthouse about 1 minute after they opened on that day. So it had been a Friday ruling, and on Monday morning, about 1 minute after they opened, I called them and I said, "Are you marrying same-sex couples?" And they said, "Yeah." And I was surprised. And so I got in the car on my way to Madison to go to work, and I called my mom and I said, "Mom, our little green county is marrying same-sex couples." She's 74 years old at the time. She turned 85 this week, and she had a clear message from me about getting married to Scott. My partner is also Scott, because you can't have enough Scotts, right? She said, "Just go now before Scott Walker finds a way to screw us up." I love her. So I called Scott from the car and I said, "What are you doing right now?" He said, "I'm planting cucumbers." And I said, "I got to go to the studio to record a few commercials this morning. But how about if I swing back to New Glarus and we just go get married while we can?" Pretty romantic, huh? And so we did, despite the courthouse having really no idea how to handle the words bride on the marriage license, scribbling things. And the clerk of courts, Mike, actually said to us, "Which one of you wants to be the bride?" And Scott said, "Is it legal?" He said, "Yeah, it's going to be legal." He said, "Then I'll be the bride." So we'll be celebrating our 29th year together this June. But within these walls, right behind us, within these walls, that we became the very first same-sex couple to marry in Green County. And then just when you thought it was safe to go back into the water, here it is all under threat again, right? And it's not just Obergefell, it's not just same-sex marriage. If you've read Project 2025 or a portion or a summary of it, you know that every freedom, every civil right, every liberty, every bit of 249 years worth of progress is now under attack. All of it. Things that maybe we didn't consider in advance. Education, really? Our role in the world, science, research, very near and dear to my heart, the central headquarters for weather information, the National Weather Service and NOAA, lifting up third world countries with food and medicine, all of it, and so much more than that, disappearing before our very eyes. So, you guys are here because you take that seriously. Yes? We have long lived under the assumption in our country, that our system of checks and balances, particularly the last word that generally comes from the courts, would prevent what's happening right now from ever happening. Sir, thank you for holding that up. Can you see his sign? The courts didn't save Germany. I was going to ask you to do that, but you beat me to it. I mean, that's a genius governmental design by our founders, but it requires one thing. It requires an impartial judicial branch. Well, so much for that. So our assumption was wrong, especially since the conservative SCOTUS basically said the president can do whatever the hell he or she wants to do without any accountability. Here in Wisconsin, we did what we needed to do on Tuesday. Ensuring, good job, everybody, man. I can't tell you what number of scotch I was on by the time the race was called, but it was an appreciable amount of scotch. So we got at least 3 years of some modicum of common sense on our own Supreme Court, hopefully more than that. And I can assure you that Susan Crawford's resounding win has sent shockwaves of fear for Republicans here at home and around the country. And nationally, we're still a little bit screwed, right? This is what's important to understand. One of many things I think that are important to understand. Trump and Musk and the guy with the bad eyeliner, what's his name? I forget the name, are trying to do these things in such a way that makes it very difficult to undo. That's obviously on purpose, right? Because no matter when we regain power, they still want those policies to be in place. I know a lot of us are very focused on the 2026 midterms, right? That's important. But I'm sorry to report that it's not sufficient. Even in some parallel universe where Democrats win both the House and the Senate in 2026, our only power then is just stopping bad policy from reaching Trump's desk. It's defensive. It's not like we can create legislation that he's going to sign. And Trump showed that he doesn't need legislation, just executive orders, proclamations, a lapdog Congress, and maybe a Sharpie. Obviously, we still need to win in 2026. The question is, what do we do between now and then? In unprecedented times, our forms of resistance must also be unprecedented.
That's right.
The old rules no longer apply. They just don't. If they're not going to play by the rules, we can't play by the rules.
That's right.
So what might the new rules look like? I have, if any of you guys follow theology, you won't be surprised to know that I have an opinion. Here are sort of my personal 5 things about what those new rules look like. Number 1, and this is frustrating because I go through it every day of my life. As frustrating as it can be, we have to have calm and insightful conversations with people who disagree with us. We can gather together, a whole bunch of us like-minded people, as much as we want, but what's going to convince others that maybe you're not seeing this quite right is people who like each other, people who love each other, having conversations with each other. And those conversations need to end. Our sentences need to end in question marks and not exclamation points. We need to ask questions. How has this helped your life? What has this done for you? What do you like about this? We need to have those conversations because that's going to be more effective than anything we can do on a chilly Saturday here. Number 2, we also need to support whatever lines of accountability we have available to us, especially in the court systems. You know, you guys have read about this all the time, right? So Trump is, the courts keep smacking him down. He keeps lifting his middle finger, right? But there are groups like the ACLU, just as a for instance, that do a fantastic job of bringing these things to judges and presenting really good cases. We have to support those people who are fighting for us. Third, we need Republicans to be very, very nervous about 2026. Showing up in town halls is a super effective way for us to do that if they're not too cowardly to show up. And we know how that's working out. Mark Pocan has been doing a great job. But 16th, April 16th, Mark Pocan right here, right? Excellent. Excellent. We have to understand that in government, there is no fear of being wrong. There is no fear of being wrong. There is only the fear of losing power. And you can bet that what happened here on Tuesday ratcheted up that fear of losing power. Fourth, we have to continue to recruit bright young minds to represent us in local, regional, national offices. This might be just one man's opinion here, but I don't think we need any more Chuck Schulers in our party. Chuck, if you're here, see me later. I brought you a bear. We need more Maxwell Frost and AOC. A scary, huge commitment for young people to run for office, but it becomes a lot less scary when those talented minds know that we have their backs. Fifth, and finally, this is probably the hardest one. We have to make friends with the fact that our Democratic leaders don't know any better than we do how to approach this very unique time in our history. If they did, they'd have done it by now. Unless your name's Cory Booker. Hold up the Cory Booker sign over there. So what they're going to do is they're going to continue to do what they've always done. They're going to resort to political consultants and focus groups and research companies, and they're going to massage every comma and every syllable of their message. This is key. We have to be the political consultants. That has to be us. We have to play a long game of unrelenting repetition so that whether we return to some semblance of power in 2026 or 2028, we are so far inside their heads that we have written their mandate in advance. Let's say that again. We are so far inside their heads that we have written their mandate in advance. It's their floundering. I urge each of you to really think deep about what your own priorities are. And then we have to throw that at our elected representatives every day, on the phones, on emails, at events like this. We have to decide what we want, but more than anything, we have to communicate. Do you want the Supreme Court expanded? I do. You want automatic voter registration at age 18? You want the filibuster to die a slow and painful death? You want a new Civil Rights Act? You want to restore all the freedoms of Roe and reproductive health care? You want term limits? Yeah, see, that always gets the loudest yes. But right, especially on the president. Yeah. Get the big money out of politics, man. We could make this list forever. We could go around, we could have a microphone, and we could have this list going through Tuesday. But you do have to decide, and you do have to commit to communicate those things directly with the offices of our representatives. Often, relentlessly, repeatedly. Because I'm telling you, from a guy who's been in marketing my whole life, the one place where Republicans absolutely kick asses is with repetition. They do. Wish it hopes it's on me. I've never been good at the Donald Trump impression. So we must be the political consultants. We must be unrelenting. We must bombard our mandate every day, every week, every month from now until eternity, so that when we do gain power, and we will, there will be no question about what needs to be done from there. Our voices are vital. Our stories are key. Our personal experiences are relevant. Our networks are powerful, but nothing is more important than our ability to be absolutely, annoyingly, unforgivingly relentless. The 50501 motto is remove, reverse, reclaim. So let me offer you 3 more R's to consider. Relentless, representative, repetition. The mandate must come from us. The demands must originate with us. And when that happens, do you know who the happiest people in the world are going to be? When we do that, the same Democratic officials who have been wanting and waiting for us to do it. So let's do it. Thanks for your time. How's it going out there? Good.
Thank you very kindly, my friend, for allowing me to speak. First off, I think we need to give a big round of applause to our men and women in uniform over here, protecting law and order, protecting democracy. Right, thank you. Democracy cannot succeed without law and order. We're seeing that. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge that yesterday, April 4th, 1968, was the day that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. He was a shining light in what seemed like unending darkness in America. And he taught us that if a man has not found something worth dying for, he is not fit to live. The preservation of democracy is something worth dying for. Many of our American heroes have done just that. And we are here today to ensure that their sacrifices have not been in vain. Right. Donald Trump promised to make prices cheaper, and he has. Stock prices are much cheaper. By the way, how about that election on Tuesday? I didn't get the results. Who won? Democracy won. Who won? We won. Come on. Sorry. That feels good, doesn't it? Muhammad Ali said, there are pleasures in a fight, but some of my fights have been a pleasure to win. To be honest, I'm tired. I feel beaten down. I didn't want this fight, but the bell hasn't rung yet, and I'm not giving up until we win. We are the working class. We know what it feels like to be tired, and we know how to take a punch. It hasn't stopped us yet. In fact, it makes us harder to stop. We aren't scared. Our ire, and we don't cow down to bullies. I just want to raise my kids in peace, with freedom and human rights. I just want to be a good father. But how can a good father sit idly by as fascism takes away the rights of his children and silences their voices before they can even speak? You're not even going to do so much as take a lollipop out of the mouth of my children without dealing with dad. Hands off. That's right. And I'll be honest. Maybe it's felt like they've had us on the ropes. But as Tuesday's election showed them, we aren't going down. Right. It's time for the rope-a-dope strategy. We can tire them out, and we are going to come back and win this fight. It might be the 7th round, but we're going to be victorious. Muhammad Ali also said, only a man who knows what it is like to be defeated can reach down to the bottom of his soul and come up with that extra ounce of power it takes to win. Democracy's survival demands our action now. As Winston Churchill once said, democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others. Well, I guess now our generation knows exactly what he meant by that. For 482 years, Rome was a democracy until the richest man got his friends together. The richest man in Rome brought it down so they wouldn't have to pay for free bread and circus. Franklin Delano Roosevelt taught us that the test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. It is whether we provide enough for those who have too little. I think about my grandfather, Lou Mitness, a lot. But that's because he made me who I am today. He was never one to back down from a fight. He taught me to always take a stand for those who need our help. He told me the only time I'm allowed to get into a fight is if I'm standing up to a bully. Well, we're gathered here today to stand up to the biggest bully of them all. You see, courage is contagious, but so is cowardice. We cannot afford even the slightest notion of fear if we are going to make it down this road together. It is a long and dangerous road ahead, but we will get there together as a people. We will stand strong. Martin Luther King taught us that change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. And so we must straighten our backs and work for our freedom. A man can't ride you unless your back is bent. And our backs are straight. We are saying no to fascism. We are saying no to a government of, by, and for the rich. We are saying hands off our Social Security. Hands off our government. And most of all, hands off our constitutional rights. Democracy will succeed. Democracy now. Democracy tomorrow. Democracy forever. We are strong. We don't quit. We are the working class, and that's just what we do. Thank you.
Let's say it, democracy now.
Democracy now!
Democracy tomorrow. Democracy forever. So I just want to piggyback a little bit about what Scott Rippey was saying. One is the ACLU has filed 25 lawsuits against Trump and the administration in the last month and a half. 25. It's a record. So if you haven't already, donate, support them, because we want to lift up the judicial branch as much as we can during this time. And two, the other thing is we can call our Republican representatives all we want, but we also need to call our Democrat representatives as well and say, we want to see more of you stand up like Senator Cory Booker. Okay, so we need to be calling both. So anyhow, that's just my 2 cents. I want to introduce our next speaker. Reverend Susan Anderson is the resident teacher and spiritual director of the Great Plains Zen Center right here in Monroe. She's a faith-based member of the Wisconsin Poor People's Campaign Coordinating Committee, Wisdom Wisconsin, Justice Overcoming Borders in Beloit, and Danda Una Mano here in Monroe. She's a mother and grandmother and retired occupational therapist working with children and people with disabilities. So we're honored to have you with us, Susan. Please come and share your thoughts with us.
Good afternoon. Please say with me, somebody's hurting our people.
Somebody's hurting our people.
And we won't be silent anymore.
We
Won't be silent anymore. Senator Cory Booker in his speech called us to action in a speech grounded in great and fierce love, at the same time fiercely calling out what is wrong, what is not normal, what is not okay. We need fierce love, fierce action, and we need it now. Let's do this for the farm agency worker who died by suicide the day he learned that Elon Musk had cut his job. Let's do it for the child, 1 in 8 children in Wisconsin, who goes to school hungry every day. Let's do it for the 300,000 people cut from Badger Care, like my friend who still can't afford her life-saving inhaler because she was cut from Badger Care after her husband got a $20 raise at his job. Let's do it for the 140 million poor and low-wage people in this country for whom one emergency could spell financial disaster. And let's do this because poverty is the 4th leading cause of death in this country. 800 people die today from poverty-related causes, and each day. And it doesn't have to be this way in this wealthy country. There is enough for everyone. So let's call this what it is. It's policy murder. It's a choice. And we can demand that our legislators make a different choice. The choice we want for our communities. Recently, there's been an effort to say that empathy, that compassion is a weakness, to even try to justify this biblically. That Christianity and all other religions aren't really saying love your neighbor as yourself. That Jesus didn't really say, blessed are the poor. But I'm here with all my heart to say that compassion is not a weakness. Compassion is our superpower. Say it with me. Compassion is our superpower. We all have it, no exception. And when we use it, we are unstoppable. Dream for a moment. Look within and imagine the world you want to see. What is your vision for the community? What are your hopes for our children, our students, our elders, our veterans? Those beautiful children with IEPs, our families, our businesses, all the diverse members of our community. We can make that vision so. We can. Sí, se puede. And I don't just mean Monroe or the town, Wisconsin, America, and the world. we are not fighting this fight alone. 7% of the world's population lives under autocratic rule. We are all part of the inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny, as Dr. King said from the Birmingham jail. So we're fighting for all of us. Fight for those you love. Lead with love. That will work. That will bring the joy, and that will go the distance. There are many things that we can do, and here are 3 calls to action coming up in the next few weeks. First, our amazing immigrant solidarity group, Dando Una Mano, asks us to join Voces de la Frontera in Madison, Friday, May 2nd at 3 p.m. for the Day Without Immigrants and Workers rally, demanding driver's licenses for all, accessible education, including in-state tuition for our immigrants, and stopping the collaboration between ICE and sheriffs. Yes, our hard-working immigrant community deserves no less. Second, and I have all of these over on the table with the water so you can sign up, take a flyer. Wisdom, Wisconsin's Madison Action Lobby Day, this Thursday, April 10th. You can point your phone at the QR code on the flyers over there and sign up today. Please do it. You'll be joining 500 people from all over Wisconsin for the day at the Capitol. Training, t-shirts, lunch, and the afternoon talk to your state senators and representatives. I'm taking 8 students from Boyd Middle High School. It's going as part of their civic, and there's room on that van for you if you want to ride. And bring your high school student. Come and talk to me. Come help me talk with Senator Markline or whoever your senator is. Face and advocating for what we know is right. Third, you can sign up for the Poor People's online statewide meeting this Wednesday, April 30th. 6:30 to 8 p.m. to learn about the Poor People's Campaign, hear about upcoming actions, hear inspiring stories, and share your own. So all of this information is on the table over there, and you can talk to me today if you're interested for more information. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm just reminded in her talk that we can fight, and yet it's also in the liberation of our community and in the oppressed, the immigrants, in the community of color among us that we find our own liberation. So I want to challenge us to not just seek democracy for ourselves, but seek democracy for all of us and do better. And that our own communities asking us to represent them and join them with Voces de la Terra in Madison. And so please consider joining us. Up ahead, we have closing remarks from our own Ari. She's serving her 2nd term as Greene County Clerk prior to being named Interim County Clerk in July 2020. Yes, give it up for Ari, please. Yes. She has been amazing over these last weeks and really over her tenure and her career. So thank you. Thank you. So she was served as deputy county clerk for 1 year and Monroe City Clerk for 1.5 years. Worked as an administrative secretary for the city of Monroe prior to that. She's administered over 20 elections over the last 7 years. Yeah. And she's a planner for the Monroe 5051 event. She's a passionate advocate for individual rights and the democratic process and having everyone's voices heard. So thank you, Ari. Here's your closing remarks.
Well, hello, everybody. This is an amazing turnout today. I'm so glad to see so many of our fellow community members here. If anything is coming of this, we are meeting people in our community, showing people that we are here, we support you, and we care. We have community here, and as we move forward through these times, our communities are going to be what we need to focus on to get us through this. There are a lot of things going on at the federal level, but real change starts local. So to kind of echo what other speakers have said, again, we have to do better. We all have to do better. No more sitting on the sidelines watching as our country, our democracy, and our Constitution is destroyed. We can't sit for this anymore. We know the checks and balances are not working the way they are intended to. Congress isn't saving us. The courts aren't saving us. It's up to us. Keep reaching out to your local and federal elected officials. Tell them when they're doing a good job. Tell them when you're not happy with them. Run for a local office. Get involved in your communities. Donate. Community service. There are so many things that we can do here to strengthen our community, to help us prepare for what's ahead. Times are going to get tough. We're 75 days in, and we look at all that has happened so far. Nobody thought this was possible. Everybody expected another Trump 1.0. But I think we all know now Trump 2.0 is much different. Much different. So we have to continue to let our voices be heard and to fight for our democracy. I want to end with one final point. I need to bring it up here so I make sure I read it properly. Of the Constitution of the United States, George Washington says, its only keepers are the people. And it's time to keep our Constitution and our democracy. Yeah. Continue having those conversations, those hard conversations over a nice bowl of soup with your friends and family members. Challenge others to think differently, to see things through a different lens. Everybody is going to be impacted by these actions in one way or another. Whether it be increases to groceries, the cost of goods, people losing their jobs, their insurance, things that help them survive on a day-to-day basis. But we need to come together and make sure that our community is strong going forward. And as Cory Booker said, make good trouble. We have a long road ahead. But this country has been here almost 250 years, and this is not where we end. It is not. We will come out on the other side of this stronger together. That's right. Thank you, everybody. I would encourage everybody while you're down here, spend some time in our beautiful downtown. Show our local businesses that we love and support them. Grab some lunch, grab some coffee. Feel free to hang around and talk and mingle with people. And thank you most of all for your guys' time today.
We've got one more thing for you before you go. The beautiful Tashana Smith is going to sing for us.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope you all will take out your song lyrics and join me in singing America the Beautiful. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrim feet, whose stern impassioned steps a thoroughfare of freedom reach across the wilderness. America, America, God mend thine every flaw. Confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty in law. Woo! Thank you.
Thank you all for coming up. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Celebrate your freedoms today.